lounging, son.
Welcome back to another episode, a special episode of the Comic Lounge podcast, guys, where we talk about what everyone's talking about who's a freaking nerd.
Yes.
WandaVision.
Yes.
Spoilers. We're
Yes.
there's gonna be spoilers. Like, so don't talk about.
If you don't want to know what happened in any of the episodes, especially the newest one, Episode 5, turn this off. We're gonna do heavy spoilers because how else are we supposed to talk about this show without spoiling it? Like we said before, we wanted to split the season up in two because, like, to record after every episode, I think would have done it a disservice, and I don't think we would have had as much to talk about in terms of like what's going on. You even thought we were recording last week.
I thought we were recording.
I mean, thank God we didn't record last week because holy shit, this episode was even crazier than episode 4. You know, let me just share off top. If you watched the first episode, I could see why some people didn't necessarily want to watch anymore. I'm not like, I don't want to shame them, right? Like, it's not what you would expect. Anything Marvel Cinematic Universe related stuff, right? It was very different. I do think that that's why they put 2 episodes, right? Yeah. Because, like, I mean, my lady walked out 7 minutes into the first episode. Like, she just couldn't, like, it didn't grab her immediately, right? Like, and she didn't grow up watching any of the, Nick at Night stuff, any of the old shows, so you don't get those callbacks.
I do. I love those shows.
Same here, dude. Like, I watched all that shit. I mean, I think there was a point when I was like a little kid, like maybe I didn't have insomnia, but I would wake up in the middle of the night at like 2 in the morning and I couldn't sleep. So what did I put on? Nick at Night. So I watched Dick Van Dyke. I watched I Love Lucy. I watched The Honeymooners. I watched All in the Family. I watched The Jeffersons. I watched all that shit. So to see that...
So good.
Yeah, so to see the callbacks to these shows was really cool. And even to the camera work, even to like
some of the episodes,
set designs.
Some of the I think the first 2 episodes were filmed in front of a live studio audience.
Did they really?
Yeah.
Oh, I did not know that. That's
no. They talked about it. Like Elizabeth Olsen was saying, like, how difficult it was to act in front of an audience because, like, you always have to face them. Yeah, like, that's one of their things. Have you noticed, like, in the old I Love Lucy, like, even when Lucy is, like, kind of like walking like across the screen, she always has her body towards the audience. It's like, so like they were catching on those notes too. That's why, like, in I think for the first 2 episodes, Feige had a meeting with Dick Van Dyke to talk about
right. I heard about that.
Like, yeah, it's freaking cool. Like how the lengths they're going to make it accurate, right? And it's great. Like even right down to the intros, to the beginning, to opening credits.
I love the opening credits so much because
this week's opening credits, it reminded me of Growing Pains.
It was Growing Pains. That's what I thought. I'm like, at first I'm like, is it Family Ties? No, this isn't Family Ties. This is Growing Pains for sure. And I was like, so they totally skipped the 70s, kind of, right? Or
no, the 70s. The 70s where it was episode 4. That was the Brady Bunch. Where it was kind of like the Brady Bunch.
Oh yeah,
not the Brady Bunch.
So it's like tail end 60s, early 70s, right? I think
tail end 60s, early 70s, okay. And then they skip to the 80s.
Right. All right, but first off, so I just want to say, like, anybody listening or watching, if you're still watching us and you don't care about spoilers, well, we haven't really spoiled anything too crazy yet. So power through the first 2, man. Power through them if they are not something that is necessarily your cup of tea, because it gets more in line of what you would expect, I guess. I don't know how else to say it.
By the 3rd episode.
Right. And like, but even early on, like the first episode, like the scene at the dinner table, you know what I mean? Like where they start like laughing, like she starts laughing hysterically, and like you start seeing like certain scenes, like the glitches of stuff, or when Wanda rewinds time when the dude comes out of the sewer, or the colorized version of the helicopter that comes in the 2nd episode. So like we start getting like the clues, right? More in the 2nd episode.
It starts getting this kind of like Twilight Zone-y, Outer Limits feel to it. Like really fast.
And it's crazy too, because like even the commercial breaks, right, in the episodes have clues. We get like a Stark Enterprises one. We get a Hydra one. I don't know what this last one was on episode.
Lagos was the name of the city, that the Lagos incident where T'Chaka died. The one that
okay.
The one that Wanda was kind of like was responsible for.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
Clean up any mess that you may have that you made on accident.
And dude, they even made it look like blood too. Like it didn't. Like that was pretty fucking dope. But yeah, like the little clues, like we're getting other stuff introduced, like through the sword, right?
Yeah.
We haven't seen sword before. You see the logo in episode 2, but you don't really know. And then like Jimmy Woo, like we learn who was contacting her in episode 2. I fucking love Jimmy Woo, dude. Monica Rambeau. Who, if you don't know who Monica Rambeau is, if you watched Captain Marvel, you met Monica as a young child, right? But she eventually becomes a hero in her own right. A version of Captain Marvel, actually, in the comic books. Later changed her name to Photon. So the first 3 episodes, I would say you even could put that in one episode. Like I've heard people say they should have released all 3 of those at once, because you get a better picture of like what's going on. And then episode 4, the bomb drops and we start learning what's happening.
What is going on? Yeah. We see Wanda go crazy pants. And I feel like we're just going to see Wanda go more crazy pants as the episodes progress, because this last week, dude, she literally came out of the bubble and was like, yo, stop doing my shit.
Dude, this, I'm telling you, bro, like, I know we're glossing over episode 4, which is where, like, because I really want to talk about episode 5. So, episode 4, we see Monica Rambeau, and she's coming out of
the Thanos blip.
The Thanos blip. So, like, we see and that was pretty cool too, seeing all these people's ashes reform. I don't think we really saw that. In the movie. So, like, you're seeing all of a sudden ashes turning into people, and she wakes up. Her mom has been dead for months.
Years.
Oh, years. That's right. I'm sorry, because it's been years since the snap. So, and then we learn she's an agent of S.W.O.R.D. And we start seeing that, and then she teams up with Jimmy Woo, and that's when we see the bubble of Westview and what Wanda has done. Through that episode, which ties into episode 3, when I think episode 3 was when she goes crazy and throws her out of the blip, right? And and then in episode 4 we learn it's all Wanda. Like, so a lot of people were speculating, right? And I never thought this was the case, that it's all Wanda. It's not. I don't think it is all Wanda.
I don't think it's all Wanda.
And Wanda even says it.
No, you know why? You know why I don't think it's all Wanda? Because they've been saying it a couple times during, like, with Monica Rambeau, how she's, like, technically in search of missing sentient weapons. So that means free thinking weapons. So I feel like that has something to do, and probably like is amplifying Wanda. And I feel like, what's her name's character? The neighbor that comes in.
Oh, I think
Agnes,
but it's gonna be Agatha Harkness for sure.
Oh yeah, dude, it's Agatha. It's Agatha. Yeah. It's Agatha. It has to be Agatha.
And seeing some of the characters when they break character, it's like that's what's really weird, because why are they able to break character but then stay within? Which leads me to believe that, like, they are part of it in some way, because, like, we see Vision starts to, like, see that something's wrong. Right?
Yeah, he's starting to break character.
And he finally realizes, and then makes somebody's mind in his workspace. He basically gives them, unlocks their mind, and he's like, dude, it's so painful. I'm, like, in pain. Like, where's my family? How long have I been here? And that shit is crazy. So it's like, when you see those certain people don't have the ability to break character, but then some do. Right? Like, it's interesting. Like,
there's a lot of that in episode 5. There's definitely a lot of that in episode 5. It's pretty crazy how, like, intense some moments are. Like, you know, when Vision does that to his coworker, I felt genuinely bad. Like, man, this sucks. Like, he can probably see everything that's happening and know that the words coming out of his mouth aren't his own.
Yeah.
But then later, Agnes rolls through, and she's like, do you want to do it again?
That's like, hey, hold on. That scene, dude, I was like, I don't want to say I felt uncomfortable, but I'm like, as if I'm in here with them and like, what's going on, dude? Like, that was a really well acted scene because I felt uncomfortable. I felt the awkwardness in the room of like seeing and like you look at Vision's eyes and he's like coming to this realization, like, wait a second, what's going on?
Not right.
Yeah. And like they're introducing the kids too. We see them like, first of all, her pregnancy was really quick, right? Then they're born and they're crying. And then they age to like age 5 or whatever, right?
And then they go to age 10.
Yeah, wait, we can't have a dog till we're 10? So they age themselves. Yeah, it's like, what? And like Agnes doesn't even trip out, which is why like she's got to be a part of this. I mean, Wanda even says too, like, this isn't all me. You think I'm controlling everybody? So like, is she subconsciously doing it and not knowing that she's doing it? Or is there somebody else that is doing it and she just is realizing what's going on, but is okay with accepting it because she wants Vision.
Because she gets Vision. She gets the life. Right. She gets the little slice of American pie.
Or did she make a deal?
Yeah.
With the devil, aka Mephisto, which is what a lot of people think.
I didn't even make that connection.
Yeah. A lot of people are saying Mephisto. I think she made a deal to get Vision back because I don't think she can bring people back to life. I mean, she created life, but can she bring people back from the dead? You know what I mean? Like as he was. Because he doesn't have the Infinity Stone anymore, right? Or does he? Or does he? What's that in his head? Is it just a jewel that they glued on there? Like, you know what I mean? Like, I don't know.
Well, every now and then you see glimpses of him in corpse body, and then in episode 5 you learn exactly what happens. Like, what happened to the sword? Like, why is Sword involved? Because Sword was the one holding Vision's body, and she went in there and literally stole the body.
This show has made me go back and want to get old issues, right? Mostly, and thanks to Rob Liefeld and his podcast, because he's been talking about the show. He's like telling people what stories to check out, and I've been getting them. And dude, they are pulling stuff from some of these old John Byrne stories, Avengers and West Coast Avengers, and the scene where Wanda comes and breaks Vision out. And his body's like all over the place. Like there's a panel where they dismantled him. So like, dude, there's a lot of clues and a lot of stuff I think maybe in the old stuff, which is what is leading a lot of people to guessing Mephisto is part of this. I don't know what is or isn't true, but it's clear that Agnes is a part of whatever's going on because she goes in and out of character of her own accord. Yeah. There's no like Wanda's putting her back in her place. She's doing it on her own. Right. And then Wanda accepts it and is like, oh, that's just her. So it's like Wanda has to be manipulated as well. I don't think that she is controlling everything.
Yeah, and also like, this is like by far like the most powerful she's ever been. Right?
Right.
And there's no way without, even in the comics, there was no way for her to do that without help. Whether by proxy using Professor X or whatever, or whatever reason have you, there's no way. So, wow, I didn't even take into account that Mephisto aspect of it. With Blade being involved in future MCU stuff, and Moon Knight being involved in the future MCU stuff, and, the literal title for Doctor Strange's next movie is The Multiverse of Madness. Like, dude, all that makes sense.
And I mean, you could even like go so far as to like the One More Day Spider-Man, where he has to erase his from even the heroes. What I mean, I'm not saying they're gonna do it. But like Mephisto's a part of that too.
Yeah.
Right? So that he could get his identity back, which in turn lost him the marriage with Mary Jane. He had to give up his marriage with her. Like, could that be something? Could Mephisto be a major villain, much like Thanos was, across multiple things?
Or he can be, this new era of Avengers stuff, like kind of like Loki.
Yeah, right. Like not maybe the main villain, but like a sub villain.
Yeah, because if you think about it, like who they always need something to tie all like a character to tie them all together. And if you think about it, Loki tied a lot of what was going on with the Infinity Saga. He tied a lot of that together, right? And to have Mephisto be that, like, you can get really expansive on what characters you can and should use. You know what I mean?
Yeah, and dude, there's a lot of stuff that he's connected to.
Yeah, exactly. Dr.
Doom. Dr. Doom. Then you bring in Hellstrom. You can bring in Ghost Rider again. There is so many potential stories that could come from Mephisto just being around and him being able to tie into other stuff. Now, I don't know if it's Mephisto. I do think that, like I said, I already thought that Wanda had something to do with it, but was being manipulated or in some way didn't know every aspect of what was going on. But when she does walk, like, that's why I'm saying, like, she's aware, or she had become aware at least, because she walks out, dude, in that scene where she fucking turns the guns on the store agent. I was like, dude, she's fucking badass, dude. And I was like, where's her accent? Right? The whole time in the show, I'm like, why doesn't she have her accent? Like, she says she's from another country in the episode. But when she comes out of there, she does. She has the accent again.
Yeah.
And just like, and it plays with that too, like, well, why can't you bring the dog back from the dead, right? When the dog dies, and she looks at her kids, and like that scene right there, I think there were some clues, and there's some clues in there, because like I can't do that. So then did she not bring Vision back? That's why I'm like, she made a deal to get Vision, because if she's saying you can't bring back somebody that's dead, or she just doesn't want to do it again because there's a cost to all magic, and if you play into the fact that she's using magic to do what she does. It's not just that she's like this or that. And then
within the hex.
Yeah. I mean, fuck it. Let's just this is the heavy spoiler of the cameo that we got at the end of episode 5. Quicksilver. I knew about this from before episode 4 aired, that he was going to be on the show because a customer had come in. I didn't want to tell you. That's what I was talking about with a cameo.
Okay.
So I knew he was coming in, and I'm like, it didn't really spoil too much for me. It kind of did a little bit. Like, I kind of wish I didn't know he was, because the minute the door knocked, I was like, oh, this is where Evan Peters is coming back.
But I didn't know it was going to be this Quicksilver. Like, I heard inklings of that too, Quicksilver making an appearance, and like,
oh, I knew it was this Quicksilver. I knew it was
Evan Peters. I didn't.
So like, but even seeing it, like the look on her face, because like she kind of knew, but then she didn't know. And then if you're going to make him Pietro, he's a mutant. Is she a mutant? Like, this is And I heard there's another cameo coming. There's another cameo coming. What if they bring in Michael Fassbender as Magneto? What if they fucking connect some of the Fox mutants and they don't get rid of everything? Which I think it wouldn't be a bad thing, because there was some good aspects of those X-Men movies. I don't think they'll bring in Ian McKellen, because like he's just too old. You can't have him as Magneto. Like, that's just like way too old. I mean, when did he have her? Like, then you have to age her, because like he's like got to be in his 80s. But dude, seeing him on the show, they could
always pull a grandfather.
That's true. But just bringing in Pietro is like, that's huge.
It's huge, and especially, I mean, Kat Dennings is all of us. Darcy is all of us. And when she's like, they recasted Pietro.
I know. I loved it. That was hilarious. That was so good. But she knows, like, you see the look in her eyes. She's shocked, but she doesn't know it's him right away. So it's like, well, I don't understand. How would you recognize him, right? Unless she just like recognizes almost like his energy, his aura, because like they are twins on some level, right? So like she had to have, like, there had to have been something more there.
There is. There's definitely something more there, because there was like a look of confusion, but a familiarity too. Like, she knew exactly what she was going to say. Like, Pietro came out of her mouth, right? And it's just crazy, because it's like, what does this mean? What is Feige trying to tell us here? Like,
there's 4 episodes left, dude. That's why, like, I mean, normally the shows are 8 episodes, and they did 9. And I think they did 9 because of maybe the reception to episode 1 was not as good as they would have liked, so that maybe they split that up into 2 episodes, because it kind of, well, maybe not, I don't know, But yeah, I'm very excited and to see how this is going to lead into the multiverse of madness. I think that we're going to see the X-Men a lot sooner than a lot of us think. Maybe not an X-Men movie, but I think well, we're already seeing Quicksilver. We're already seeing him back, and this version of Quicksilver is a mutant. He's not a whatever the fuck they were, miracles as they call them.
They're Infinity Stone experiments.
Dude, I want to like. I was upset with the way Quicksilver was handled because I've always loved Quicksilver.
Right.
I love Evan Peters. I think he's a great actor. A lot of people have problems with the way they handled his character, like being too funny, like that he wasn't like the Quicksilver of the comics. But I don't really care. Like I liked those scenes of him when he went into like speed mode, dude, and like all that shit was really dope. So I have faith in Feige. I don't think that this is a throwaway. I think that this means something. I don't think he would. Knowing how the fans would react to this, there's no way that this is just a one-off, and there's no way that this doesn't mean something in terms of mutants.
Yeah,
it's gotta allude to that. And please bring back the parentage of Magneto being Scarlet Witch's mom. Like I've talked about this, I hate that they retconned that. I think it was I just like for what reason? It just to me it didn't make sense.
Right, no, I 100% agree. But like, yeah, like I also agree with the fact that Feige doesn't do anything for no reason. I feel like he put on this whole big campaign before Endgame came out for everybody to rewatch all the movies. And if you pay attention, like now, even people who aren't into like comics like that, the people who actually joined in on the whole thing of rewatching it, they're invested in this too because there's references in this that is made of like very obscure references to like some of the first movies, you know, like, and now people are totally invested. People like he knows exactly what he's doing. So him putting a mutant a blatant mutant that we know, he could have easily got freaking Kick-Ass back. He could have easily got what's his name back, right?
Yeah.
To play Pietro.
Right.
No. This is for a reason. And you're right. Like, you know, Feige can get anybody to play anyone, but he got this.
Exactly, dude. There's this is the perfect way to do it. You know what I mean? Like this is the perfect way to bring in mutants is through Pietro because he's dead on that version or that Earth, right? But he's not dead on the other version. And if that reality almost merges with this reality,
like convergence.
Yeah, I mean, and it's possible, right? Or just some aspects of that merge into here. I want to see the X-Men in this universe. I'm glad I want to see Quicksilver back. I mean, this episode was just so phenomenal, dude. And for anybody that's like complaining, oh, this is boring or this is slow or they're like, I don't get it. Like, just pay attention. Like, it's not hard to get.
It's not hard to get. And stop being so spoiled with like I feel like the binge culture that we have nowadays is just like kind of ruining things.
I know. I prefer this on a week to week. It gives me something to look forward to. Like, I mean, so many shows nowadays, like when there are Netflix shows or whatever, they release them at once. It's like, no, I like the slow burn and like being able to like look what we're doing, right? Like, there's no episode 6 for us to watch, so we're able to like talk about it. I mean,
and digest.
Right. Or we could have talked about it every single week. And same thing, like, I mean, the only reason we haven't done episodes is just because, like, fuck, dude. I mean, there wouldn't be enough to talk about, I feel like, if we did it every week. You know what I mean? But, like, there's still questions. There's this speculation of, like, wondering what's going to happen, what's happening. You know what I mean? And that's the fun part about episodic storytelling, right? Like, through comic books on a monthly basis or through TV shows on a week-to-week basis. And I'm just loving it. I'm here for all this, dude. I mean, I cannot wait for every other show they're doing. This one I was the most unsure of in terms of what I was going to get because I could not have guessed that they would go this route or what they were going to do. And especially seeing the different decades of television, like with this last one, while I do think the credits were growing pains, I definitely saw like family ties in there a little bit too. And like, you don't, I mean, and again, like maybe not everybody gets those references unless you were watching those shows, but I've watched.
I can't wait for the 90s one. I don't know what it's going to be.
Dude, they're doing Married with Children. I know that's on there for sure. Yeah, I think I've seen like the '90s hair. I saw the.
So like Married with Children, right?
Get
Is
out of here! Do you have
totally.
Do you have a season of
I have the box set,
complete series?
complete series. Like I love Married with Children. It totally wouldn't fly by today's standards of
Not at
television.
all, dude.
Not at all. Not at all. But there, Al, everybody in this show, I just love them so much.
Can you imagine Vision in the Al Bundy role? Like, that's hilarious.
Could you imagine freaking Scarlet Witch with freaking big red hair?
Like Peg, yeah,
like Peggy, dude.
Dude,
like
I'm down.
Absolutely,
yeah, I'm all here for that version. I mean, and I think that I don't know what they do in 2000s. I'm assuming they'll probably do Friends because, like, how do you not do Friends?
No, you have to do a family sitcom. You would do like Modern Family.
But how do you not touch on Friends though? That was a phenomenon. Or Seinfeld too. Like those are two huge sitcoms. You kind of have to like at least allude to those in some way. Like
they'll probably the easy way to do that is do like little nods. Like you could have like Agnes come into the house like Kramer all the time. You know? Like,
yeah, that'd be funny.
Like, come into the kitchen all the time. Like no knocking.
Yeah.
And then, have Scarlet Witch call her, "Hey, dummy."
Yeah. Yeah, that would be funny. As
it's like you have to do little nods. I mean, there's nods all over the place, but I would love a Married with Children.
I'm pretty sure that's what we're getting. I'm pretty sure. I think I've seen like screen captures and I'm like, dude, that's the couch. That's the fucking couch for Married with Children. Like that is the exact couch. So, or yeah, they could even do a coffee shop scene for Friends.
Yeah,
that's what they could do. That's what they could do. But yeah, I think that this show it's phenomenal, dude. And like I did have my trepidations after the first episode where I'm like, what's going on? What is this? Like, what is this going to be?
Yeah.
But again, like I had faith. I'm like, I'm not going to count this out. You know what I mean? Like there's something else going on. And like,
I'm not counting out I'm not counting out anything now.
No.
And I'm ready for all the shows.
Yes.
I'm ready for Moon Knight, especially, Oscar Isaac.
I really want to see She-Hulk.
Me too.
I really want to see She-Hulk. Like that one, too. Like I'm really stoked for. Falcon Winter Soldier comes out. There's only a week gap in between WandaVision and Falcon and Winter Soldier. So I think I'm ready for that. Yeah, I think we'll probably do the same thing. We'll just break it up into mid-season wrap-ups and then the final wrap-up. But I love this show. I think everybody that is on the fence with it, if you've stuck through this video with us and you haven't watched the show, sorry that we spoiled it. If you don't care about spoilers and that's why you continue to watch it even though you haven't seen the show, I hope that this got you pumped for it. I know that I'm very excited to see what else plays out over these next 4 episodes. And I'm excited to once it's all done to fucking sit here with you and dissect everything, because we're still gonna have questions once this series is done. It's not like this is the end. They play through stuff and plant seeds and threads for future stuff. Like we said, this is leading into movie. Mm-hmm. This is leading into Doctor Strange and Multiverse of Madness. So,
and just the concept of the multiverse itself, that's literally can mean anything for anyone. So I think this is very important. I think WandaVision and the next Doctor Strange movie is definitely going to play into what is really going to happen, or what could possibly happen with the next phases of the MCU. And honestly, I before any of this even started, I had my reservations, because it's how do you live up to the Infinity Saga? How what big bad do you choose? What Avengers roster do you choose? How do you integrate the Fantastic Four? How do you integrate mutants? With just 5 episodes, literally 5 episodes, that's 2.5 hours worth of any kind of footage, right?
Yeah.
And I'm already sold.
Oh, hell yeah. I mean, I'm excited to see this new Avengers lineup. I mean, I think it might even kind of mirror maybe some of West Coast Avengers type of with the characters that are going to have on there. I think that this is just such a cool time to be a fan of comic books, especially for people like us that have been reading it for so long. And to finally get to see some of these characters and storylines like brought to life is just it's awesome, dude. And I can't wait to see what's next.
I can't wait to the end of this season to see just how crazy pants freaking Wanda gets, dude.
Yeah. I know, same here.
because we're already seeing like little inklings of it, right? But the thing is, as comic fans, we know exactly how crazy it can be.
Oh yeah, dude. This is nothing. This is nothing compared to the actions she does in the comics. So
yeah,
I'm all here for it, dude. I'm very excited.
Same. All right, well, shit.
All right, well, if you're not already following us, follow us on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram at The Comic Lounge. You can follow Dylan at The Dillbot on Instagram. Make sure you throw your comments or suggestions down below, or you can also email us, thecomicloungepod@gmail.com, and make sure you like, follow, and subscribe to the YouTube channel, and hit the bell icon so you're notified every time a new vid goes up. And on that note, we're out.
Later, buds.